Well, thanks so much for having us. And Tim, thanks so much for allowing creative to have voice, right? We've learned so much just in the panels. I don't know, didn't you introduce automation as the sexiest? We're going to talk about innovation, we're going to talk about dynamic solutions, and it's all going to go through a creative filter. So we're hoping to entertain everybody. But we have three fantastic innovators on stage today that in their own right have raised the bar with regard to evolution, the needs, addressing those needs, really coming to the challenge and call of the dynamically served, data-driven environments. They've all done it. So without further ado, I think it'd be great just to get to know each of them a little bit more. So Jinny, as CEO and founder of vCreative, tell us a little bit about what's going on with you.
Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I look out and we're all in broadcasting, right? And it's kind of like one of those industries where you get in and you can never get out. It's kind of like Hotel California, right? You can check in anytime you want, but you can never leave. And I actually wasn't checked in. I was actually born into this industry. My parents met through an advertising promotion. True story, 1961. They met in an advertising promotion where you could win a date with Cleveland Browns defensive back from Miss Ohio. And they went on a double date with the two winners. And my dad played for the Browns, and my mom was Miss Ohio. They got married, gave birth to me, and so here I am in advertising promotion, walking.
Mic drop.
What? You trump that. But then my dad owned a radio station growing up for 35 years of my life. I was around radio my entire life. And then worked in radio, did everything from sales to on-air to creative. Fell in love with the process of creative and sales together. And so that was really kind of my background, where I fell in love with just the creative aspect of getting results for our advertisers and local radio. At the time, I was married to a software developer, and he wrote a software to help me do my job better so that sales had more time to sell, I had more time to create. We were a great team, and in 2007, we launched that software to the broadcast industry. Today, we have 4,700 radio stations and over 100 radio stations using our workflow software to help that last mile of creative of getting the ad that you have sold to make sure it's on air or online. That's what I do.
That's awesome. How far away? So as CTO, co-founder, what's going on at Innovid?
First of all, hello. So, super happy to be here. I don't know how the hell I will be able to top this introduction, but I can tell you about my parents, how they met. It has nothing to do with advertising, I think.
It's all right.
As far as I know, at least. So I'm Chalozin. I'm Israeli, hence for my very weird accent. And I'm CTO and co-founder of Innovid. Innovid is what we call a video marketing platform. It's a technology, it's a software platform for brands and agencies to manage everything in the ever-changing world of digital television. So as very large marketer move from traditional television into internet or video over IP, Innovid is the largest video ad server in the United States and several other countries. We have a set of creative tools for personalization, for interactivity, shoppability, and things like that, and a measurement solution trying to challenge the existing measurement capabilities, measuring video across every different screen. That's Innovid. A little bit by numbers. A little over a third of all video ads in the United States are being served and measured by Innovid right now, which is roughly $6 billion of billing is flowing through our system. Not the dollars themselves, but just the ad counting.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. Last but not least, Adrian, as co-founder and CEO of Cablato. I can't say that enough. I just want to say Cablato. Like Cablato. Just yell it out. Cablato. What's cooking over with you?
Yeah, hi. So once again, thank you very much for being here. Yes, Adrian, Pearmund, co-founder of Cablato. We are a technology platform. We develop personalization technology for the linear and in Europe the broadcast TV. Personalization is, we see it kind of the next frontier for TV. Personalization is going to be a huge element within the digital world. And within TV, that we have the ability now to identify audiences and to kind of personalize that creative to the different audiences. And the benefits, benefits we see are very, very clear for that. From consumer perspective, consumers get a much better experience. Obviously, they can advertise much more relevant to them, it can increase their sales. And from a revenue perspective and from a commercial perspective, throughout the whole kind of ecosystem, from broadcasters to technology companies, everyone involved, actually start to kind of monetize data and use that data much more effectively. But personalization within the broadcast space, I use kind of broadcast as kind of European idea, so we can think about kind of broadcast as being kind of Skies and ITVs and Channel 4s and M6 kind of the world, and there's like different connotation within the US. But it's very, very complex. The technologies for personalization, the technology for broadcasting anyway, were never built to kind of handle kind of personalization, to kind of handle large amounts of creative content. So as a business, we're working with technology companies, we're working with broadcasters, we're working with the whole industry to look at the current state of technology, the future state of technology, the size of the market, the size of opportunity, and kind of build the infrastructure and processes to ensure that from creative agencies, media agencies can create content, can get that content into market, optimize content, and deliver that content very efficiently.
I love it, yeah.
What about your parents?
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, the obvious thing, right? Jack teed it up a little bit and talked about it, is that we can spend all day, and look, everybody's deeply embedded in coming up with these dynamic solutions, and they've all done it in their own right. And we've done a little bit out of it as well at Effectv. But if we're not getting the right creative in front of the customer, if we can have those conversations, and we love that, right? Creatives love the business side of the industry, right? Creative wants to be justified. It always does want to be justified. It's the reason why you start your presentations off with a little bit of research, and then it's less subjective in a nutshell. But how do you? But it seems like it's half the solution, right? As much as we want to drill down and ensure that we can get creative to the right person when we want to get it to them, they have to care about it, right? That engagement, that opportunity to impact the customer, all has to do with the creative. So I'm going to double back with you for a second, Jinny. So you talked a lot about the dynamic solutions, project management system. How do you ensure that the right creative airs where and when it should?
Well, so earlier today we were talking about there's the dynamic between the sell side and the buy side. And earlier we heard Jay Stevens from Hudson and then Archie from Medea, and talking about I know that Jay said something about the make goods and the write-offs, and it's a huge problem in our industry. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't like to let that escalate up. They kind of keep it under wraps. They don't like people to know how much money is really being lost with make goods and write-offs. But it's a big, big issue, and it's a big issue at that side, on the buy side and the sell side. But where it really breaks down, there's a whole other piece of it, and where it breaks down is at the station level. Because at the station level, you have to make sure that all of that data usually is being emailed down to somebody who's putting it into a traffic system, who's sending it to a production director, who makes sure that it's the right ad, and they go to Extreme Reach, or they go here, and they're marrying all that at the local level. And then they're uploading it into the automation systems or the cloud systems, or whatever they need to put it. And there's so many people at the station that are trying to digest that information. So you can do all the sales you want and you can figure that out. But if you miss the part that we do, which is the workflow internally, that spot doesn't run. Yep. And so we've tried to do that. Our system was really started to create more time so that salespeople could sell more and creatives could create more local content. But it ended up being the number one thing of our system is that it helps get the right ad on air. But I'm going to say what Archie said, we have to innovate and integrate with each other, and all of these systems need to talk to each other so we can find a standardization for this entire industry. I really believe that's the last mile, because you can sell all day, but isn't it awful when you have to go back to your client and say, I'm sorry, the wrong ad ran? And then you have to not only lose the inventory you sold, but you have to take inventory from the future and add to it.
It's the part that's supposed to work.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Right.
And so then, and what complicates it more is now you're personalizing and you're doing more creative. We used to use one ad for, one buy across the board. Now you have umpteen ads that you have to create to serve. And so it only gets more complex if we don't get our systems talking to each other, in my opinion.
Yep. Tal, with all the innovation that you're tracking and everything you're kind of setting forth on regarding storytelling and video capabilities, is there anything in particular that you're excited about with regard to this year, 2020?
Well, so many things. First of all, I feel like there's many levels I can answer that, but at the first level, there's clearly, we've been dreaming about this future of television for years, and it seems like just in the last 12 or 18 months, it's been kind of the big bang of a lot of changes and new companies and new services that are starting. A lot of everything that happened in the last few months, or maybe even a year, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, HBO, Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, all is around the SVOD business and doesn't essentially leave room for marketers in this world. Clearly, advertising plays a massive role in television, seeing Peacock and seeing a lot of others, the Hulu and other big services. The place for marketers in the future of television is an extremely important one, and we're very, very excited about reinventing what does an ad look like. How do you make it personalized? How do you make it shoppable? How do you make something that feels more digital, that fits into this innovation in television? So just look at, again, Linda Farina's presentation from last week on the announcement of Peacock. They're putting not just the existence of advertising and by virtue of that lowering the cost of Peacock, but also just the ad experience as a massive differentiator of what Peacock is all about. And looking at the amazing innovation that Hulu has been doing in the last few years, reinventing ad products, lowering ad load, investing in better targeting. I think that this is just the beginning of the new era of ad products of television. So this is a very, very exciting thing for us.
Yep. And so Adrian, you touched on, I do find this fascinating, right? Because it really is a crossroad between creative, which is somewhat organic and passionate, and personalization, right? Which is that crossroad, right? It's retaining everything that we love and all the emotions that we're trying to drive with the consumer, and at the same time, it's tugging on the heartstrings of technology. So can you tell us a little bit about how you focus on that?
Yeah, so personalization, again, as saying, it's been kind of evolution from kind of online world. I mean probably kind of 10, 15 years ago, kind of creators of the world started kind of coming in, kind of retargeting people. And so that kind of started kind of evolution, but it also was a bit of a problem, I think, in the kind of personalization space. I mean, a lot of kind of advertisers coming out of that space was actually kind of pretty poor. I think the internet came a bit of a kind of dumping ground in some places for some kind of pretty poor creative, the creative point. But certainly within the broadcast space, I mean, we think about kind of broadcast, well, I think, again, just using that terminology, kind of the linear TV or kind of big screen TV experience. Advertisers and consumers, they want to put out really, really, really high quality content. And that doesn't mean that we should take away the whole idea of kind of what kind of brand advertising is, or kind of creating really kind of big kind of creative pieces. But I think through kind of personalization, the ability to kind of deliver more relevant creative to different audiences. I don't think we need to get down to this idea that personalization should be about the individual. I think we can still kind of identify kind of big groups of people and give people kind of content very, 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 very relevant. But certainly, kind of, our kind of goal, what we're trying to achieve right now. So, advertisers, look, we have the ability to have this amazing format around us. We have the ability to kind of capture more data on consumers now, kind of use that data to kind of match it together to deliver really compelling, really exciting consumer experiences to consumers. Let's say there's kind of technology challenges kind of all the way through that process. But I think kind of this year, obviously we're kind of running tests in Europe, running tests with different kind of broadcasters, different technology companies kind of really kind of prove this is possible, get those kind of proof points out there. And I think this year we'll start to kind of see that really grow, and hopefully kind of the kind of future TV and future, will be much about delivering, kind of much more really high quality, compelling experiences, and making sure the creative players are really, really keep on that.
I love that. And I'll jump in here for 2 seconds because I'd love to get all of your opinions on this. But so at Effectv, I wear a couple of different hats. I run the very high-touch experience creative agency of Mnemonic, and I'm also in charge of driving innovation and tech from a very scalable executive leadership, automation standpoint. How can we grab all those customers that we can't actually get to face-to-face, right? Which is, I think all of us are addressing in some regard. So what I find myself having to do, the more that we progress in this automated field is that I'm talking my staff down, my creatives around the country, that they're going to be replaced by a machine. So, is it, any of you guys, I mean, whoever just says it's a lob for anybody, but do you run into that as well?
All the time, all
Yeah.
the time. In fact, I have to tell my sales and those that are doing the demonstrations of our software to be very careful the way they word things, because producers in the creative team immediately, this is going to replace my job. No, it's not. It's designed to give you more time. It's designed to give you more time to do more. And that's really, at the end of the day, creative takes time. You can't, what's happened is, so many broadcasters are over leveraged, and they have equity partners demanding returns, and they have to make knee-jerk reactions in order to make the numbers. And so what do? They cut staff, and then they have to replace, they have to replace that. You want more creative now, so you used to do one ad, now you want to personalize it and do 4 or 5 ads, and you have, a fourth of your staff to do it. And so it's it puts a conundrum. So with our software, we're just trying to come in and fill those gaps, saying, okay, we're going to give you more time because we know you're one person now, and you have to do more with that. Does that make sense? I mean, that's kind of the dilemma we're in.
Can I jump in here? So I don't think that it's actually software in our world specifically on personalization. This premise of one-to-one television messaging or ad-tagged copy, or there's many names for the same thing. It's been around for ages, but it never really scaled. And yes, there's always this balance between amazing 30-second spot for $1 million and it's pixel perfect, and you're not going to touch anything. And then on the other side, there are guys like Instagram or other new innovators of product that create amazing niche targeting messages that just speaks better to the viewer, because you're getting something that is super, super tailored for you. You cannot do that manually. It's impossible to take an ad and create 1,000 versions of that just by hand in After Effects or Premiere. You need software for that, for the creation, and software for the delivery and optimization. And I think the software is here. Right now we're in this gap that takes a little time to deploy that and to train new crops of people anything from decision makers on the CMO level all the way down to the production houses. But it is starting to happen, and I think it's starting to happen more than anything because of Instagram and YouTube and other solutions that are just showing viewers that there is a better way.
Can I jump in here? I mean, for us, again, the creative is really, really important. I think within, again, if I kind of focus on the kind of linear kind of broadcast space, I mean, it is still a very regulated market. And so, especially in Europe, where TV ads need to be approved and go through a kind of clearance process before we get, there is kind of a vetting level before kind of creative goes out there. But in regards to the creation piece, and we talk to kind of brand advertisers, I mean, the idea of those guys have an opportunity to kind of go back from the initial kind of strategy stage, think about the different audiences they're going to talk to, think about the way they want to kind of create content for the audience. It's a really exciting opportunity, and people get really excited by it. We do see a lot of pushback from creative agencies who are quite questioning. It's not true, because actually there's an opportunity for these guys to create a lot more content and to put a lot more time into production, into the post-production, and kind of putting all the different pieces of the work together. In the same breath, we do run campaigns, and more kind of DR campaigns, where we're given a kind of a final edit, and then we can kind of swap out pack shots, we can kind of add location information, and kind of change pieces of content. Do that in a couple of hours and kind of get that stuff into market. And so, there is kind of benefit for those campaigns where we can produce, literally hundreds of thousands of different pieces of creative very, very simply, very, very quickly. But that still doesn't take away from the creative process. That's something that happens after the creative process. So, I still kind of think there should be an opportunity for the creative industry to actually really embrace all of this and actually kind of make it something which it can really work with.
And where you're going with this is, again, just for anybody. So you feel like the dynamic solutions that all of you are heading up, right? Like really kind of digging deep, ensuring that the creative is getting to the right customer at the right time. Has it provided a new revenue stream for creative, right? Is it more relevant because of that?
I would say that it does, but I wanted to elevate this conversation one step up, if I may, and just say that, to be completely honest, if you ask a normal viewer of television ads, would say that they hate ads because it sucks. It's not relevant, it's annoying, it's not what I set here to do. But when you, again, I keep on using Instagram as an example because I personally think that Instagram is the best advertising machine ever made, because I have the opportunity to not stop my thumb and continue scrolling all the time and not seeing any ad if I can. But the blurring the lines between an ad and a content is done so well in Instagram that creates this amazing canvas. And I think, just to take your question, is that are those technology new revenue stream for creatives? Honestly, I feel like this is we need to kind of wake up and say we need to create better ad experiences, because otherwise people will just expand their Hulu subscription to an ad-free, or tune into Netflix, or just pull up my phone, my Instagram or Twitter while an ad is on screen and not really pay any attention to the ad that is available over there. So it's our job to create software or to create experiences that just brings the trust and the joy to viewers again in advertising.
Right, and I think, and again, that goes back to the creative process. Adrian was saying that a lot of the technology comes maybe after the creative comes to mind, but there has to be a person or a team that has to come up with the concepts and the creative to come up with ads that are more engaging, and that we have to think of it in broadcast more as it is just another piece of content. But it's actually driving people to our advertisers, because if they get results, obviously they're going to continue to advertise with you. And so the better the creative and the more targeted and the more engaging that creative is, the better results that those advertisers are going to get. And so we do have to constantly reinvent. Ads today don't look anything like they did before. The advertisement that my parents were in 1961 is hilarious. I mean, it just wouldn't even fly today. You couldn't even do it. Some of the things are so sexist, you wouldn't believe what was in this ad. It's so different now, and we have to constantly evolve to who are the target audience is, and so that's really important.
So do you feel like, right, for all the reasons why we love it, and each one of you headed up your own initiative to go ahead and make sure that there was a fast, efficient way to get the creative out there, has then the client come back and said, well, where's the creative? Like, you've already stressed twice, and we love you for the fact that you've stressed it, because we're all thinking it, that are people pressuring you to make sure that the creative development happens faster? Everything else is happening faster, and you spend all this time on ensuring me why you've created this solution where things move faster and get to my customer faster. Where's the creative? Do you find that they're pushing you, or do you find you have to push back and say, give me enough time to make the right ad?
Some of you might be mad at me, but I think we should all take some advice from Canada. I work with a lot of Canadian stations, and they really focus on creative first. And in the US, it seems like creative comes second all the time. It seems like it's all about sales, 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 and then like, oh, well then let's just get it on air. Let's just get something out there. And not thinking as much ahead about the campaign. We really need to think more about the campaign first and how we're going to do this, and then go and do it. Unfortunately, I don't think that we've put ourselves in a situation where it's backwards now in the US.
Do you guys feel the same way?
I suppose, just going back to the kind of previous point as well, in regards to kind of commercial opportunity, I think there really is a big commercial opportunity, and again, just thinking about the simple kind of point of using data, and we kind of think about data for all addressability. So when I think about kind of addressability and targeting, I kind of think about it kind of two halves of kind of puzzle, or two halves of circle. But we talk about addressability, and I think everyone gets addressability. There's a real value in being able to identify and target different audiences. But it's still, if we deliver kind of creative, which is kind of relevant to those guys, it doesn't really work. But when we deliver really kind of engaging, kind of relevant creative, there's a massive opportunity. And so the same thing goes with data. An essential opportunity when you kind of monetize that data twice. So I think for commercial benefit, I think there's there's a lot of kind of value we have from there. I think kind of going into the second point, which I've now completely lost my train of thought too.
Well, one thing I did want to comment, maybe it's a perfect opportunity for that, with regard to addressable, right? I do find the fact that everybody understands addressable And now it's been somewhat new with regard to the product that's been introduced at Effectv, and we're a major stakeholder as Mnemonic to go ahead and do that. But I found what's really, really exciting, and maybe it's just me and my rose-colored glasses, is that I have people in the company talking about creative that never talked about creative before. They see the business opportunity, they identify the business opportunity, and they know that this is about versioning. Creatives love it because, again, it's all about justification, right? In the past, the creative would have to go to a customer or a client, do a presentation, and say, let's produce these 3 or 4 versions. And it always becomes a little subjective. I don't know what's the budget, what's going on. Right now, we can assure them, go ahead and invest in these creative ideas. We've produced them in such a way where we're going to touch on each one of your target points, and we're going to make sure that it actually gets to the target as well. Much easier conversation. So I don't know, that's my piece of it. I get really excited when other people are pushing the creative and I don't have to do all the pushing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it again start with the consumer at the end, less about the word creative, but I think everything around that, maybe even driven by Apple to start with, but a lot of people say that Netflix reinvented television or Spotify reinvented audio, but it frankly is not really true. Netflix didn't change anything in the actual plot or heroes or cliffhangers, or Spotify didn't change anything on the actual medium of audio. Both of them put so much work in the user experience of video or user experience of audio, streaming, discovery, continuation of device, binge watching, whatever, cataloging, all of those things. And I think this is where creative fits, in the user experience of television advertising. This is where the next wave of innovation is going to happen. And again, look at everything that is, all the ad-supported streaming services that are coming up are using the ad experience as a core differentiator to just toot the horn of why ads on that platform are amazing. So I think this is what it brings creativity to the masses, and at least that understanding of that creativity or differentiation of that.
I suppose if I can again, now I've got to go my train of thought back. Talking about this idea, we do see a lot of advertisers, everyone's short of time. I think it's been kind of spoken about here today. We do see guys kind of come in and say, just get stuff done, and it is a problem. And I think I think this kind of comes again from a kind of online world where kind of creative really kind of has kind of second thoughts for a lot of different campaigns. So I think within TV, we really need to work really hard to ensure that kind of creative is right, kind of put it right at the beginning of the process, and that people don't kind of say, let's get my creative out there, kind of like a media plan, and kind of look at the wrong metrics, and kind of internet with kind of last click. We need to kind of ensure that the whole kind of TV and streaming experience kind of remains what it is, kind of continue to deliver the value it does. And I think that's kind of all of us need to kind of make sure that that world doesn't kind of change it or go the wrong way.
Yeah.
And the last panel, the gentleman was up here said that he's been broadcasting a long time, and they say every 2 years that it's dying. That radio broadcast, TV, that we're a dying breed, and we're not. We're still here, right? And the truth is, we have to keep innovating to do that because it is getting more and more competitive out there. And TV didn't kill radio, and the video, all of these didn't kill TV, but they are taking a major share because of what you just said. They're getting into doing creative that is more, it's more engaging. It's more, experience oriented, and it's something that we have to really take a look at because that's what they're doing, and that's how they're beating us. They're starting to take more and more of our share because they are being more innovative and they are being more creative. And so we have to really, really pay attention to the importance that the creative campaigns have and put a little more thought ahead of time, not just throw something on the air. There are times that things, you can throw it on the air and get results. One time at a radio station, this is no joke, and this is the beauty of radio, we can get it on the air right now. A hospital forgot to run, they had a Wednesday night big event, and it was a free event for the community to come out to. They forgot. The marketing team forgot to put it in the newspaper, and they forgot to advertise it completely. They had like one flyer out there, and they had no one registered, like hardly anyone. They called us up, and we ran like 3 ads an hour for like 8 hours this day, and it was just a 30-second rip and read. And I ripped and read it, and just put it out there. They had a record number. They had turned people away.
Advertising works.
and it wasn't creative, but it had great frequency, and it had a message, and it had something in it for somebody. So it doesn't always have to be super creative, but it has, it has to have something. That one actually had a really cool call to action, but, free stuff.
So we don't have the innovation to see creative and vice versa, right? So does creative, in any of your opinions, does the creative development process need to change in any way as we become a little bit faster, a little bit more dynamic? In other words, we talked a little bit about give us that time, right? The initial conversations, the strategy development, the concept, ensuring that the customer, the client's been heard, and the right creative is being produced. You find that process, because we're talking about the last mile, so can create a track to that last mile. Does the creative process have to change, or should it not? Should it push back?
Yeah, so there is a learning curve, and a lot of the agencies we speak to, and I think the majority of the creative agencies we speak to, this is a whole new area for them. And it's something that they haven't ever thought possible, and so you really kind of start feeling. So I think once we get it, and once we kind of any job, but once we've kind of done the first campaign, it kind of opens a whole new world of possibility. But there is a big education piece to do, and I think across the whole industry from technology, from creative, what we can do from the legal side of it. But it's going to be an exciting time.
I think it definitely needs to change because of all the examples that we just described earlier. Is that again, consumers are voting with their phone or other tools and disconnecting from one side and moving to another that has a different experience of advertising. So by and large, we definitely need to change.
Well, and if you don't mind me saying this, Justin, Univision's done a really good job of, in this day and age of consolidation and needing more time and needing more resources, and sometimes, unfortunately, having to cut resources, that you can take all of your staffs across markets and work together. And Univision's done a really good job of that. A lot of our radio companies have done that, where they can cross-collaborate. So because of the cloud technologies that we all have, you can bring, for example, with our software, you can bring in all of your voice talents and all of your producers to work collaboratively in the cloud from their own, wherever buildings they are, so that you can also even out the workflow. There may be one station that got slammed today and they have to create a bunch, and the other one's sitting over there with one, but they have 3 people there, and so they're twiddling their thumbs that day. So they can work together, they can share really great creative. This worked in my market, let's use it in yours. So there's ways that we can work together and be a little bit more creative so that you have more time to create creative campaigns for the salespeople who are out there selling their little hearts out. And it's not easy for them, so let's back them up with great creative.
Which is nice to hear, because the answer sounds like it's necessary to have a process, right? But there are efficiencies in order to get to that process. We can go ahead and track it that way. Anybody else?
18 seconds left.
Time for an end.
I think that's
Jinny, will you pretend to accept an Academy Award as Laura Dern because she
I look exactly like her. Yes. Big little eyes. Well, and I can act like her sometimes too. You don't want to see me. My children, I have 6 children who have all seen me look like her in a rage.
Well, I want to thank each and every one of you. This was an exciting opportunity. Thanks so much for letting me have